Okay. We're going to start off with the warm-ups. 2 sentences to correct. So I'm going to go ahead and present my screen so that you guys can work on those 2 sentences. Alrighty, so we have 2 sentences for you to just fix up. Number 1, we had a flat tire, we got losted, and 1 was car sick. And then number 2, Ian thought, I hope they will choose me for their team. That's hard to read. Let's go ahead and take 3 minutes. So I'll give you until 8:35. I'm also going to turn on some music really quick. I guess we'll do until the song is over. It's 4 minutes long. We'll do that. I thought it was over. No. I know. This is longer than I thought. Okay. That was a little bit longer than I thought it was going to be, but that's all right. How'd you guys do? Finish it up? All right. Let's go ahead and look at these sentences. I'm going to zoom in a little bit. And let's rewrite them correctly. The first one, we had a flat tire, we got losted, and one was car sick. Let's start at the beginning of the sentence. What should we have at the beginning?
A capital V.
A capital. So we had
Capitalized.
Say that again?
Capitalized.
Yep, capitalized it. Is there anything wrong with we had a flat tire?
No.
No, that part looks good. So we had a flat tire. We got losted. What's
You
wrong
need
with
to
that?
put a comma there.
Okay, we need to put a comma here.
There's a comma.
Because they're listing what happened.
Okay, they're listing the things that happened to them. So we had a flat
got
tire.
lost. Get rid of the D.
Yeah, we got lost, not losted. Losted is not a word. So we got lost. And one was car sick.
And then you put another
Capitalized
comma.
John.
It's
Jewett.
one. Close though. And one was car sick.
Was is
W-A-S.
W-U-S.
W-A-S. And then car sick is 2 words, so that's right. Right. What goes at the end?
A
Period.
period.
Good. So we need to make sure we have these commas. They're pretty important because it's a list of things, and we learned a couple weeks ago that when you list things out, you gotta have commas, or else it's just like a really long, convoluted sentence that doesn't make a ton of sense. So these commas are helpful to know that it's a list of things. Good. Our next one, Ian thought, I hope they will choose me for their team. What should I start with at the beginning?
Capitalize.
Capital I-A-N.
A capital I for Ian. Thought is spelled correctly. Now what?
Capital I.
Good, we need to capitalize the I. Now what?
You have to fix they.
Yeah, we gotta fix they. So hope is correct. I hope they. How do I spell they?
They.
Good. I hope they will choose me.
Wait, wouldn't you need quotation marks?
We do. Good. He's not talking, but he's still thinking it. So we need some form of quotation there. Remember last week I said that if we add quotes, what do I need to put before it?
A comma.
A comma. So Ian thought, quotations, I hope they will choose me for their team. There's something wrong with for their team.
Instead of E-R-E, E-I-R.
It is. You are correct. Thanks. I'll get that. Yeah. Yes, you're correct. I don't know who said that. For their team. And then what sort of punctuation should I have?
Well, you have to do the period first and then the end of the quotations.
Good. Now, there's one thing that I did miss. This says they will chose me for my team.
You have to add another O.
Add another O.
C-H-O-O-S.
Good. That's choose, not chose. So now it says, I hope they will choose me for their team, not I hope they will chose me for their team.
Yeah, I forgot about that part.
So did I. Mr. Turner reminded me. All right. How'd you guys do on that? Pretty good?
Yeah, I did good.
So what we're going to do today and tomorrow, so I'm not expecting you to finish it all today, is use Brown Girl Dreaming and the way that she wrote her poems and all of that stuff to basically write your own poem. But we're going to go through some steps before you actually write the poem. So we're going to go to Google Classroom and open up our Brown Girl Dreaming assignment. So let's go ahead and do that first. So I'll do it on my screen while you guys do it on yours. Google Classroom. It's not the writing to sources Brown Girl Dreaming. We'll do that in a few minutes. Go back to the original Brown Girl Dreaming under Savvis. Realize. So you're opening up the actual textbook. Okay? And then when you get there, go ahead and write done in the comments or in the chat. Whole chat. All right, so when you open it up, should get From Brown Girl Dreaming by Jacqueline Woodson, and then if you've been annotating with me, you might have some annotations there. But once you get there, let me know. I'm gonna Oh, that's going fast. Dang, that was quick. All right, I'll give you about 30 more seconds. If it's not loading, that's okay. I want to talk before we get into things. So I'll give you a second to get there. Says I can't reach the page. Maybe try reloading it. It might be internet connection. It's a really big file, so it might be hard to open. So if it won't open for you, Bradford, just keep following along. And then the second part that we do is a different assignment in Google Classroom. So that one should hopefully open because it's a lot smaller of a file. Okay. Cool. Awesome. I'm going to go ahead and talk about Bronco Jamie for a second. So I'm going to close at the top, the title, because it takes up a lot of room. Now, we've been working on this for a solid 2 weeks now, I want to say, almost at least. And we've done all the parts of making meaning. We did all of these. A couple of them have been graded. Some of you guys have not done those graded assignments. The next part, language development, we finished last week. We did all of these 4 things. The conventions part was graded. And again, not all of you guys have done that. I actually think a lot of you guys have not done that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I only have 8 of you guys that have done that one. Some of you guys started it but didn't finish. So if you're one of those people that started it but didn't finish, make sure you go back in and fill out all of the notebook sections and answer all of the questions. Some of you guys forgot to do this number 2 and this write it part. Like you corrected the sentences up here but didn't finish it. So I didn't grade it because I want you guys to finish it. If you don't finish it. Say it again.
I forgot to hit the close button. That's why I had to go back and do it again.
Yeah. So if you forgot to hit close or even just forgot to do one of them, I probably didn't grade it because I want to give you guys the chance to show me that you can actually do it and not grade it without you even doing it, because it seems very unfair. So make sure you go back and do that part. We are going to finish up with Brown Girl Dreaming by Thursday. We have 2 more assignments. We're going to take Monday and Tuesday to do an assignment, and then Wednesday and Thursday to do an assignment. They're kind of like bigger-ish assignments. They're not huge, but they're stuff that are going to take about 2 days to do. And then on Friday, I'm going to give you guys a work day to work on the sections that you have not done, because you're going to turn this in on Friday. Once you've completed all of the sections, for you guys, there's a big turn in button at the top. Is that right? I can't see you guys. Is that right? There's a turn in button.
You have to go back out of the assignment, and then you can mark it as done or turn it in right there.
Okay. So for those of you that have not turned it in, on Friday, once you've completed all of the sections, that's when you'll have to turn it in. If you have already turned it in on accident, you can still be doing all of these sections. I just have to check your answers a different way than I check everybody else's, but you should still be able to fill out all of the notebooks. And if that's not working for some reason or won't load, you need to let me know, because I have a separate way for you to do it. But if I don't know that it's not working for you, I can't give you the separate way to do it. Does that make sense? Like, you need to tell me if it's not working for you. Okay. You don't have to tell me on here. You can tell me, send me an email on Schoology, however you want to tell me, but just make sure I know so I can give you the separate assignment. It's the same stuff, just a different format. Sound good? Alrighty. Let's go ahead and work on today's stuff then. So we did all of making meaning. We've done all of language development. We're going to work on these parts under effective expression. This evidence log down here isn't, we'll maybe do it on Friday real quick, but it's not super important. We've actually done a lot of this throughout, but we might do it one last time. But we're going to start today with writing to sources. So you can open that part up on the right. Okay. Getting emails. Okay. Once you have that open, go ahead and let me know so I can keep going. Want to give you guys time to work
I
today.
got it open.
Good. So it's the third one down, effective expression, writing to sources.
I did it.
Cool. Elijah, if it's not loading, try closing it and reloading it. It might eventually load. Yeah. And like Mr. Turner said, if it's not working still, just keep following along. You'll be able to do the second part because it's a different assignment in Google Classroom. So if it's not loading for you, maybe just look at my screen for now while we go over some directions until it does load. So we're going to do this writing to sources part. It's essentially, we're going to take some steps to write a poem about something that you've experienced. So it says, in Brown Girl Dreaming, Jacqueline Woodson tells stories in poem form about specific moments from her childhood. In each poem, she also shares her thoughts and feelings about the moment she describes. The separate poems work together to tell a story of Woodson's childhood. So all of these stories are all poems, what we've been talking about. And all of them kind of connect. They follow a storyline that are her childhood. And our assignment, well, your assignment, is to write a brief poem in which you use Woodson's memoir as inspiration. So you're going to follow these steps. So essentially, you're going to write a poem that's similar-ish to hers. So you're going to think about your childhood and write a poem. It says, choose, not chose, choose a single moment on which to focus. It can be something small or seemingly unimportant. For example, you might write about what you see from your window in the morning, or about eating lunch at school. Then, write a regular prose paragraph in which you describe the moment, include details that show what the moment looked and felt like. So this part, write a regular prose paragraph. I'm going to highlight that better. Means that you're going to actually write a paragraph. So not a poem yet. You're going to write a paragraph that gives the details of the moment that you're going to choose to, I'll give you a second to choose it later, but you're going to actually write a paragraph first about whatever moment you choose to describe, whether, well, you guys are all still children, basically, so from your childhood. So our first step is going to be, well, actually, second step will be to write that paragraph. Then the next one is change your paragraph into a poem by applying elements of poetry such as the ones Woodson uses. So for example, you can break up the sentences to make poetic lines like she does, let's see. Like in Brooklyn Rain, right at the top, she adds watch to separate lines. That's a poetry element that you don't typically see when you're writing paragraphs. So you can consider repeating important words or setting them on their own lines. You may even play with incomplete sentences or fragments, like the blue I have highlighted over here. Those are incomplete sentences, or sentence fragments as they called them earlier in the unit. And then try to make the moment you described in your paragraph even more vivid as a poem. So you want to use those sensory details so that when I go back and read your poem, I can feel like I'm in that moment with you. Okay? How are you feeling so far? Sound good? Okay. And then our next part, the last part, says, once your poem is organized, consider adding dialogue or more descriptive details. Alternatively, you may need to cut some of those details. Work to make your poem capture the moment and make it fresh and alive for readers. And then there's some vocabulary stuff where you can consider using some of these vocabulary words if they fit in there. You're more than welcome to. You don't have to, but if you'd like to and these fit in whatever moment you're thinking of, go for it. The part right here, reflect on writing, we're going to do after. So we'll do this part tomorrow. So you don't need to worry about writing in the notebook today. Okay? Still with me? Sound good? Okay. Now those directions are just not on the paper or the assignment that I gave you in Google Classroom. That's why we went over them on here. So essentially, you're going to choose a moment in your childhood to focus on and write a paragraph about it. So what we're going to do, I'm going to leave my Savvis open, is if you go to Google Classroom, while we were talking, okay, Aja, you don't need it anymore. We're going to go to Google Classroom anyway. So while we were talking, this new assignment called Writing to Sources, Brown Girl Dreaming popped up. If you open that up, it says Jones Narrative Poetry. You'll click on it and it'll open, it won't open in a new tab. Click open with Google Docs. So it's a Google Doc for you, though you can type on. Okay, so let's take a second to open up that assignment, and when you're there, go ahead and let me know. Say we're good. Okay, so if Brown Girl Dreaming, like the Savas Realize page isn't loading for you, that's all right. As long as you were listening and following along, you should kind of have the concept, and we're going to go through it more in detail on this worksheet we're going to do online. Okay, so go ahead and get that pulled up, Writing to Sources, and then open up the Word document that's inside it. If you get stuck, like if you're looking at my screen and if it's stuck right here, where it like won't open for you, make sure you click on the open with, and then you click on Google Docs. That's how you'll be able to type into it. So you got to open it with the Google Doc.
Mine just said open with Google Docs, and I clicked on it, and it took me to Google Docs.
Good. It should be able to go to a Google Doc for you. I don't know why it wouldn't. Okay, how we doing? How many of you guys are getting there? Do we need a little bit more time to get there? All right, there we go.
there.
Huh?
I'm there.
Okay, good. We'll do about 30 more seconds. Go ahead and try and open up that thing. This is going to be graded, so it's going to be much easier if you follow along and work on it right now versus trying to do it later when I'm not available for you to ask questions. So there's a reason we do a lot of this stuff together on live classes. So I'm not always available after school, during school mostly, but after school when I go home, I'm not always available. Alrighty. So just one last time for those of you that are not there yet, Writing to Sources, Brown Girl Dreaming, under your ELA section of Google Classroom. Click on the Jones Narrative Poetry, drop down the box that says Open With, and click on Google Docs. And it'll open up for you in a separate tab, like so. And then you guys can put your names on it. If I type my name, can you guys see it on yours? Those of you that have it open? But like on their copy of it, not on my screen, but on your copy that you opened.
It's not.
It didn't. Oh, so you can't see that. Okay, good. All right, then you guys write your own name, not mine, please.
I can't.
Good. You're not supposed to. The way that Google works is so Google Classroom. I have the option to make a copy of this worksheet for all of you guys, but sometimes I get worried that this template part that I open means that if I type in it, it changes your guys' view of it when you open it on your computer. But if it's not doing that, then we're good.
Do we write our last name too?
No, you don't really need to write your last name. Just write your name for me. I'm gonna zoom in a little bit. You can write the date too, if you'd like to. 8-31-2020. That says 29/29. That's a long way away. There we go. All right. So let's look at this. We're going to be writing the poem, but there's going to be some steps to it first. It says, in Brown Girl Dreaming, Jacqueline Woodson combines the genres of memoir and poetry. She blends elements of poetry, such as onomatopoeia and imagery, with narrative elements, such as dialogue and description, to depict scenes from her childhood. A narrative in verse is two kinds of writing. It's a story and it's a poem, which is exactly what you guys are going to be writing right here. A story that's in the form of a poem. So as a story, a narrative in verse has a narrator, a setting, and narrative details, such as events in the story and characters. As a poem, the narrative in verse uses rhythm, figurative language, and descriptive details. It is written in lines of poetry instead of paragraphs. The lines do not have to rhyme or be the same length. If the narrative in verse is told by an I narrator, then it is an I'm just really struggling with talking lately in general. Then it is autobiographical, which means it tells the story from the writer's experience. So, what you guys need to do first before we even get started is figure out what moment you want to write about, what specific part of your childhood, whether it's like, oh, I broke my arm one time and you want to write about that, or you had a fun day at the park, whatever you would like to write about. But that's what you guys need to figure out first, something that you want to write about. It can be a small moment in your life, it can be a big turning point in your life, whatever you want to write about. You're not going to share it with anybody except for me. I need to read it. So it can be whatever you want to write about. So what I need you guys to do is take, let's see, 4-5 minutes to think of a moment. And when you have that moment in mind, go ahead and write down in the chat. You don't need to tell me what it is. If you want to write it down really quick on your thing too, like what you're writing about, you don't forget. But that's the first thing you need to do. Figure out what you're going to write about. So I'm going to play music. Take about 3 minutes to figure out the moment you want to write about. Let's see if this goes to an ad or not. Okay, cool. We'll do until this song's over. It's about 3 minutes long.
Miss Jones,
Yep.
when it says what I'm writing about on the thing, it doesn't show that on mine.
That's true. You can type it in for yourself.
Okay.
I just typed it on mine just so that you guys could like write it if you think of something. So like let's say one really like vivid memory I have from my childhood, I was at a soccer camp and my friend got pushed over during like the final game and she broke her arm and it was like really, really gross looking. So it's just really vivid in my mind. That'd probably be something that I could put a lot of detail into about what happened that day. So if there's something like that that sticks out to you.
So you write what I'm writing about, colon, and then
yeah, and then what you're writing about. So I would say friend broke arm at soccer camp. So that's what I would be writing about, my friend that broke her arm at soccer camp.
Okay.
Okay, so you guys can add this little section if you'd like to, just for yourself. That way you always have it in your mind of, I'm writing about this moment. Okay? How's everybody else doing, okay? Figuring something out? I only saw one person say that they got it.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I'll give you guys about 2 minutes and we'll finish this song up. Okay. So, oh, I thought I paused it. Apparently not. There we go. So I have my idea of what I could write about my friend who broke her arm at soccer camp. You guys good? You got some ideas? If you need more time, that's fine. I'm still going to talk about what you guys need to be doing, and I'm going to give you time for maybe about 10 minutes to work on that right now. So if you're still thinking, it's totally fine, but I'm going to describe what we're going to do next, okay? So once you have, huh?
Can I tell you mine?
No, we'll keep it to ourselves. Maybe after, or maybe tomorrow when we have more time, but I want to give you guys some time to work today, okay? So I would be writing about my friend who broke her arm. We're going to fill out these boxes just to kind of give us some ideas to write about so that we're not just like out of nowhere writing this paragraph. We're going to give ourselves some places to go. So we would first do the setting. So the time and place of the event, or wherever the moment was or what time it was. So you're going to describe that. So for me, we were on the soccer field. We were in what's it called? Do you know where Embry-Riddle is? It's near Prescott. I'm gonna say Prescott. It's close enough, but I don't know exactly. I can go look it up later if I feel like it. But we were in Prescott, and it was the afternoon, and it was sunny. So you're gonna kind of just describe the setting. So it happened on a soccer field in Prescott or around it. I don't know for sure. I can put a little question mark if I'm not sure, right? So, yeah, I think it is Prescott. It's like off of the highway, the 17 somewhere. And then it was in the afternoon and it was sunny. So you're going to start by describing the setting. Then you're going to talk about, give some of the narrative details. So it gives you some ideas here. You could put the dialogue that happened. There wasn't a ton of dialogue in what happened with mine. It was more of like a shock factor because it was very shocking because my friend's arm was like, can you guys see me right now? It was like supposed to be straight and it was not. So there was very much like not a lot of words happening because everybody was very shocked, but there were reactions that were happening. So I just said that everyone was shocked, so I can write that. There was a ton of shock. People's faces were just like people were just grossed out. So that could be another thing. Thoughts and feelings. I'm pretty sure my thought was, holy cow, like something along those lines, because it was not my favorite thing to see because it was very gross. And then my friend's face that broke her arm was like, I don't even know how to describe it. You guys, this is where you're gonna have to start kind of thinking about things, but she was like shocked to the point of like not even like feeling the pain.
That's kind of good though, because you don't feel how bad it hurt.
Yeah, she didn't at the moment, but she did later. That's for sure. So you're gonna kind of put some things there. You can write as many details as you want in these boxes. The rhythm, ways of using stressed and unstressed syllables. We're not necessarily there yet, but that's kind of like the poetry aspect of things. Poetry. So like, could you add rhymes? Could you capitalize words that you don't need to capitalize? So that's just kind of some places where you can think like, I'm going to do this in my poem. I'm going to use this in my poem. Things along those lines. Then the next one is figurative language. So could you use an onomatopoeia or other types of figurative language? I don't know how much you guys have talked about in your schooling yet, but there's things like metaphors and similes imagery, which is actually already there. So like words that could give you the image of something. So you'll fill out that box as best as you can. And then sensory language. Language that appeals to one or more of the 5 senses. So you could, so for here, like, yeah, hearing. I was like, what's the word? So for hearing, it was really quiet when that happened because nobody really knew what to do. So it was really quiet. My friend broke her arm. For sight, I could talk about the angle her arm was at. This is a good example. I just thought of it as we were going. There's not really a taste for that one. What else is there? Smell. You could talk about, or I could talk about the smell of grass. Also like sweat because we were playing soccer for an hour. So things along those lines. So hearing, oh, the feel, like my, that's what it's called. Words are not coming to me today. A sense of touch. I don't know if I really remember a whole lot from the sense of touch of that moment. And then there wasn't really a taste, but you might have a moment where a taste was really important, like you had the best hamburger of your life, something like that, right? So we're going to fill out these 4 boxes. Right in here, figurative language you could use.
I mean, you were touching your clothes and the ground.
That's true. So I could talk about like the scratchiness of my jersey or something like that. Okay. There's all kinds of different aspects of the 5 senses that you could throw into your poem. For figurative language, you could look up types of figurative language and see if you could find anything. Imagery is just using a lot of description of the event. I'll use a lot of description of the event just to describe it so it paints a picture in the reader's mind, so my mind when I'm reading it. So there's these 5 boxes for you to fill out and work on. This is just kind of an example of my moment. Yours is going to be much different than mine probably. I'm sure not a lot of you guys have necessarily watched someone break their arm like that. It's very gross. I wouldn't recommend it. So there's that. Does this make sense what you guys need to be doing for right now? Does it sound good? Okay. What about those of you that I can't see? Need like a yes from you guys or a thumbs up in the chat, something?
Yeah.
Awesome. So let's take about 10 minutes. It's 9:12. So let's take until about 9:22 for you guys to just kind of start filling out these boxes. Were you guys able to get this worksheet open for you?
Yeah.
Okay. So let's go ahead and take about 10 minutes, fill out those boxes, and then after that, I'll talk to you about these last 2 questions, but we might not get to them today. We might do them tomorrow or start them today and finish them tomorrow. But 10 minutes, start filling out these boxes to get your details out and on the paper so you have an idea of what you're going to do. So go ahead and do that. Do you want music? Charles, what's your question?
I was talking about what Marcella wrote because, like, she put like a whole bunch of L's and N's and stuff. And
I think it was just an accident. Like maybe she leaned on the keyboard or something. So it's all right. Yep. Okay. I'm gonna play this, but turn off the sound. We don't need to listen to an ad. The cat walked on the keyboard. See? Something like that.
I have 2 cats that roam around and 6 kittens that are trying to get out.
Yeah, so they're all over the place, walking on keyboards and all that.
Could you go back to the
Yes, I will do that.
like
That's not the right one. There we go. That one down?
Yes.
Yep. The rhythm one, Colin, is just like thinking about if you could, like, when you're writing your poem, like, could you make it like follow like a rhythm, like the song, like a song, like Happy Birthday has a rhythm. Could you follow a rhythm like that? Or are you gonna kind of split your stuff up into different sentences and fragments? So just kind of, that's just thinking about when you get to the poem part of it, the type of poem or poetry elements you could throw in. Okay? Alrighty.
What is a dialogue?
Dialogue is people talking. So if in your moment were people talking to each other, or the things that were said to each other? Okay. Elijah, is it okay if you don't fill in the bubble?
Well,
Like
there
if you
wasn't very much talking, but okay.
Yeah, if there wasn't that much talking, that's totally fine. My moment did not have a lot of talking, but there's a lot of other things like character reactions and thoughts and feelings that I could write about instead for that box. Okay. Elijah, are you asking if it's okay if we don't fill out the boxes? I would like to see you at least try and get one thing in each box so that there's something to go off of for all of those different aspects. So try and get at least one thing in each box.
Miss Jones,
Yep.
what if there's like no dialogue happening and it's just quiet?
That's okay. Mine was pretty quiet too, but this part about the characters' reactions and the thoughts and feelings is where you can go into more detail. So if it was like just about you and you were the only person there, you could talk about the thoughts and feelings you were having, your reaction to the situation instead of what people were saying.
Okay.
All right. Do about 5 more minutes working on those boxes. If you're done, totally fine. Sit tight.
Did you go back to the template again?
Yep. There you go.
Miss Jones,
Yep.
on the poetry one, do you have to write a poem or just add stuff that you think you should add?
The one that says rhythm.
Yes.
At this point, just write the things that you could add. You don't have to write the poem yet.
Okay.
Okay. I never played that music. It's probably going, isn't it? It is. And it's almost over. There's so many ads on Pandora. It's a cute baby though. Okay. There's some music. We'll do about half this song and then we'll talk about the next step.
For the rhythm one, do I put like poetry in the rhythm one?
Yeah, just like the aspects of poetry that you could add. So could you add some rhymes or like send more like sentence fragments or a lot of detail, just different parts of poetry that you could add to your thing at the end. It's not necessarily writing the poem just yet.
So we just put like a few lines of poetry that we might write in it.
Say it again.
So we put like a few lines of poetry that we might write in our paragraph.
Yeah, if you want to write a couple lines that you might want to add, that's totally fine. Something that gives you an idea of what you'd like to do later. Yep.
Okay.
Okay, we'll do about 2 minutes and then talk about the next part. It's okay if you're not there yet, though. You don't need to do it. No. That's for like the numbered ones. Yeah.
What does it mean by ways of using stressed and unstressed syllables?
That's kind of like when Jacqueline Woodson is doing her part about, let me pause the music, sorry. So if you look at my screen, I pulled up the poem, right? When she adds watch to her own lines, that's kind of like stressing the word watch. So it makes it so that you're kind of thinking more about that word. So it's a way to set apart things you want to be important. So you can decide if you want to do that or not during your poem.
Okay.
Does that help? Okay.
So I don't have to put in that?
No, you don't have to do like stressed or unstressed syllables. It's up to you how you want to write your poem. Okay. Let's go ahead and look at the template again. You can look at your screen or mine, but we're going to scroll down to the second page where it has the number 1 and 2. Number 1 says using the table above, so all the stuff you're filling out. And if you're not done, that's okay. You can work on it tomorrow too, or tonight if you want to keep working on it later. Totally up to you. But I would maybe before class tomorrow have these boxes done so that when we're working on the paragraphs or the paragraph and our poem, you have all of those ideas. So number 1, you're going to use the table that you filled out that has all of your ideas in it to write a paragraph. And you're straight up just going to write a paragraph, like indent, write 5 to 7 sentences that describes the event and use the details that you put in your chart up here. Okay, does that make sense what number 1 would be? Just writing the paragraph about your event? Yeah? Okay. So if you want to do that today, you totally can. Not required. We are going to work on this part tomorrow, but you can get ahead if you'd like to. And then after you've written your paragraph, you'll have kind of a sense of like what sentences you've written and how you want the story to go in your paragraph. And from there, you'll do number 2, which is to transform your paragraph into the poem. So taking your full sentences and maybe cutting them in half and making them into poems, and however you'd like to write your poem, you can make it similar to how Jacqueline Woodson writes hers, where it's kind of like a few words per line, but you'll be writing your poem after that. Okay? We'll do this part tomorrow though, so you don't have to go too much farther. The main thing that I'd like to see you guys have done today, and I can check, I can see what you guys are working on. I can go click on your assignments. I'd like you guys to at least finish this chart today so that it's ready for tomorrow. Does that make sense? Does it sound good? Okay.
On the rhythm one, can you just put a sentence in? Because
Yeah, if that's what you need.
rhyme and I can't seem to find any.
That's okay. If that's what you need, totally works.
On the figurative language one, do you actually have to write it, or stuff that you are going to write in with
You can
it?
just write the stuff that you will write. You don't have to actually write it yet.
What does onomatopoeia mean again?
It's a word that makes you think of a sound, like bark or wolf.
Okay.
Sensory language is things that are like your five senses, senses, Kylan. So like, what did you taste during the moment? What did you feel? What did you see? What did you hear? What am I missing? What did you smell? Smell? So things that appeal to the five senses when you write. So that's kind of the lesson we're going to do today.